You want conservative judges that's been around, know what's going on.
We're in Grimes County, an hour north of Houston, and look who's here. The subject of so many of our family injustice investigations. Former District Judge James Lombardino. He's looking for votes in the July 14th runoff for the First Court of Appeals. His audience, Republican women, a friendly crowd. Lombardino only briefly mentions his 8 years as a family court judge, and he already knew we were waiting with a camera, and we wanted answers for the very first time about his ethics and the injustice in Texas family courtrooms. I'd like to give you a chance to talk about whether you think there needs to be changes there and reforms, okay?
Well, everybody knows that.
Well, I know.
The problem is, what is it?
I've got an idea. Get rid of guys like you. And apparently the State Bar of Texas thinks I'm right. Of the 6 people who are running in both primaries this year, look who was the least popular choice, Judge Lombardino. When asked about the judge's bias, the vast majority of Harris County lawyers said his impartiality was poor.
I mean, you were in my court. Yeah, I don't think you saw anything that was untoward.
Of course, you couldn't see what happened in Judge Lombardino's court when he was on the bench because he wouldn't let the cameras pass this door, even though you paid for the entire darn courthouse and his salary too. Absolutely no photographs, video, or auditory recordings without judge's prior approval. Please disengage all electronic items. Is that because of us? It was a reaction to what victims of family injustice were telling us about the 308th District Court, Lombardino's bench.
It's like we were stonewalled. My attorney and I were stonewalled, and we couldn't get anything in Judge Lombardino's court.
Lawyers were smelling something wrong too.
It's kind of the worst kept secret at the Harris County Family Law Center that there's a relationship between Judge Lombardino and Mr. Newman.
He's talking about a divorce lawyer named Bobby Newman. Bobby Newman's father's yacht, the Queen Anne, was the scene of a big Lombardino fundraiser.
Well, people make contributions, and he makes the limit of $5,000. I've known Bobby for many years, and he's one of the good lawyers.
Actually, that's part of the problem. That limit, well, it doesn't include the law firm, friends, or family members. And Newman's office was also arranging fundraisers for the judge, and even picked up the checks for the campaign. And when Judge Lombardino failed to disclose that Bobby Newman was the judge's son's lawyer in his divorce case, well, it was a bridge too far. Several lawyers demanded recusals.
If he represented his son for pro bono, then that was a gift. I think the district attorney's office should investigate the relationship between Bobby Newman and Judge Lombardino.
Of course, with Kim Ogg as your DA, you can forget about that. You heard Bobby Newman say he never made a dime.
Yes, he was upset because he was wasting so much time on it and not getting paid a dime for it.
Well, I don't know how much they paid him, but they've paid him. I really wasn't involved. I didn't pay any money.
Get out my face, would you?
Joe Indelicato was another lawyer hired to help David Lombardino in his nasty divorce. Court records show Judge Lombardino sent lots of legal work to Indelicato's daughter. Maybe just a coincidence. Judge Lombardino fought the recusals, and he says he got the okay from the administrative judge, Olin Underwood. Judge Underwood.
Yes, sir.
Winnie Dolcefino.
Yes, I know who you are.
Well, that wouldn't be a shock. Judge Underwood is like the poster boy for protecting judges under ethical fire.
But you know, people look to judges who've been around for a long time to sort of guide the system and do what's fair and right. Don't you think there's a responsibility to talk to people about it?
Have a good day.
You too, Judge.
Judge Lombardino eventually recused on his own later on, but only after the ethical questions became public. But should you have done that from the very start?
To recuse a case just because Bobby Newman represents my son in the settlement negotiation? No. But, I mean, it wasn't a secret.
Oh, so everybody knew?
No, I didn't say everybody knew. The folks that normally run that practice in the family courts.
Okay.
I mean, how do you keep something like that a secret? I mean, you've been around the family courts. I mean, there are no secrets in the family courts.
Not a secret, huh? except maybe from the people getting divorced or fighting over kids and going broke doing it. They didn't know.
Is there something wrong with our system?
Well, there might be. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I think that when you look at some of the fees that people are charged, it's outrageous. They can't afford it.
We asked Judge Lombardino if he had any regrets about one case that got lots of worldwide attention. It was the custody fight over Nico Brand in Lombardino's court. Marceli Gamaras had enough evidence to get a protective order against her husband, but later fled to Brazil with her son. Bobby Newman had become the lawyer for Marceli's husband, Dr. Chris Brand.
Once Bobby Newman was hired, everything changed. There was nothing that I could do that would convince the judge to accept, even to look at everything that I had to give to him.
I don't agree with that. If you look at the record, it is what it was.
Do you think you owe Marceli Gamaras an apology for ruling that there was no domestic violence when now we know there was?
Well, I'm not sure there was domestic violence.
We have done what Judge Lombardino apparently didn't bother to do. We actually looked at the evidence. Dr. Brand even admitted domestic violence in Brazilian courts. There are pictures showing the physical violence and emails asking for forgiveness for that violence. There's Marceli's hospital records, a restraining order that Brand violated, therapy notes and drawings showing the doctor's admissions, and even emails showing Dr. Brand was triggered by the female patients under his care. But listen how the judge hedges now.
And I think she may have had a good case, but she wouldn't come and plead her case.
After Marceli fled the country, Dr. Brand carried on a big campaign to get the Congress to help him get Nico back. But it was Judge Lombardino who ruled that Dr. Chris Brand, despite all the evidence we just showed you, didn't commit domestic violence. The FBI arrested Marceli's parents, and they were later convicted of helping their daughter stay in Brazil. But was this family punished simply for helping a victim of domestic violence? Dr. Brand is now being sued for fraud.
They want, I think, what anybody would want, which is accountability for what's happened to them. These are two innocent people who got caught up in this fraud show.
And we are fighting with the FBI, trying to get them to release records.
I mean, my understanding is the child doesn't even speak English now. And I think children need both parents, father and mother, even if they're defective.
So I've got a question. If Judge Lombardino can't protect the victim of domestic violence and won't talk publicly about the broken family court system or his ethical problems, then why in the world would you reward him with a higher court